Where's a sitter? Is there a sitter?
There should be a sitter in the show.
Thank you. Thanks. Just want to learn a little bit inside the Nefesh Hachaim, some of the things we spoke outside, and then I want to cover the regular. I want to be Marich a drop on the Union of Chanuka and how this all fits in. So we're learning the Union of Bashamaim. Bashamaim, the pshat, according to Nefesh Hachaim and according to everything we learned, the pshat in Torah Bashamaim is that at one time the Torah was Bashamaim. When Hashem looked at the Torah and He created the world, it was Bashamaim. Not only that, when Yaakov Avinu married two sisters, he was looking at the Torah, but he was looking at a different kind of Torah. He was looking at Torah which was Bashamaim, which had allowances for Haver Lishma. And when Moshe married his aunt, and all the different things that the Achronim like to ask in the Chumash is how did Yitzchak eat from the Shechita of Esav and the Chulu. That's because the Torah was Bashamaim. But in the words of the Nefesh Hachaim, in the beginning of Parachav, Umishaba Moshe v'Harida la'aretz loy Bashamaim. That from the time that Moshe Rabbeinu took the Torah and he brought it la'aretz, so the Torah was loy Bashamaim. So we need to understand that the shot in Moshe Rabbeinu was not only that he was a great Navi, of course he was a great Navi, but not only that he was a great Navi that had Giluyim of Torah that the Bnei Yisrael at that time didn't know, but there was a deeper knach to it, and that was that he took the Torah from a high place and he brought it to the Oretz, or in Kabbalistic language, he brought it from the world of Bria through the world of Yetzirah, Har Sinai, and where all the Malachim were, and they were all fighting with him and arguing with him. What do you bring? What's he like? Mali Yeludisha Beinenu? What's he doing here? But he brought it down to a place where we can say the other way around. Mala Malach Beinenu. We're not dealing now with Malachim. So even if a Malach will come to a Sanhedrin or to a Gadol Ador or to a Posek and say, no, that's not the halacha. What are you saying? A Malach will have a Gilui Eliyah. It's not that we would say. Loi Bashamayim. You had your chance. Now it's our chance. So what the Nakuda was that Moshe Rabbeinu brought the Torah. Not just he was Megal Torah, but he brought it to Aretz, or to the world of Asiya, to the world that we live in, and that's where it is. And from this point on, this is the Gra I mentioned last week. Learned it inside. Avera Lishma is only until Matan Torah. The whole concept of Aver Lishma, like Yaakov marrying two sisters, that's only until Matan Torah. Afterwards, the only Aver Lishma, there's a few exceptions which we're going to learn, but the simple exception is Hatzolos Klal Yisrael. Hatzolos Klal Yisrael, like Esther. Esther married a guy, a Shegetz. She lived with him, she had a son, very Yavesh, I guess was Jewish, and who would do that? Who would let their sister, the daughter, the niece, who would let anybody do such a thing? Teretz is Hatzolos Klal Yisrael. That was just for Hatzolos Klal Yisrael that Tosfos gives us more Heter of it. Also, it had to have been a matzav of Karka Olam, etc. Ki Yadua, the sugya of Esther. But the Pashat Pshat is that it ended with Matan Torah. Loi Bashamaim hi. So, here in the Nefesh Hachaim, he says, a couple of paragraphs in, Adayin Kishahaysa Nevuah B'Yisrael, there were still stages. There was the stage of until Matan Torah. There was a stage of Matan Torah until the end of the time of Nevuah. Also a Tkufa. And then there's, for our purposes, from the end of the Nevuah, there was until today. When did Nevuah end?
After Torah. After the Purim story, the Bais Sheni, beginning Bais Sheni.
So Chazal say mefurish that when Alexander the Great walked into the Beis Hamikdash, Bais Sheni, Shimon HaTzadik gave him a tour. He walked into the Beis Hamikdash. At that moment, that was the last nevuah. Ezra and Nehemiah, until Shimon HaTzadik, there was nevuah. At the time of Purim, there was still nevuah. It says that there was the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah Mehem. The Rambam says Kama Neviim. There were a number of Neviim still in the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah. So it wasn't it was like a mixture time. There was a mixture time. From the time Alexander the Great walked into the Beis Hamikdash, why was that such an important thing? Because Alexander the Great was the beginning of Chachmas Yavan. He was an Aristotelian. Everything was with Chachma. He was trying to enlighten the world with his Chachma. I know for Jews if he was a bad guy per se, but he wasn't a Ben Torah, right? So he came with the Mahalach of Chachma, and him walking into the Beis Hamikdash and us greeting him, maybe more importantly, in the Beis Hamikdash was the welcoming of Chachma into the Beis Hamikdash, into the world of Kodesh, which then started the derech of Torah Shebal Peh, which is the derech of Chachma. So Shimon HaTzadik haya mishiorei Knesset Hagdolah. He was from the Shiorei Knesset Hagdolah, and that's where Pirkei Avos begins. Pirkei Avos begins with the Chachmos HaTorah, which was connected. The way it works is whenever there's, in Yiddish they say v'sekristeltzach seyidoltzach, that when Hashem puts a certain energy into the world, so that energy can be used l'toiv and the energy can be used l'ra, but it's an energy in the world. So the energy of Chachma was represented by Alexander the Great, and coming into the Beis Hamikdash was the mixing of the two. So until that exact point in history, for instance, throughout the whole Purim story, which was between the Bais Rishon and the Bais Rishon was Kulei Nevuah. The Bais Sheni, there was no Sanhedrin at the time of the Bais Rishon. Sanhedrin, as I said on Shabbos, is a Greek word. The word Sanhedrin. There were Shivim Zakanim. But there was no Sanhedrin per se as a form of government or a form of a legislative body. That didn't exist. So that only existed again from the Greek time on. You see how we'll get to Chanuka in a second. We didn't need Chachma because we had Nevuah, meaning if you didn't know until the time of Shimon HaTzadik, if you didn't know what to do, so you looked up, you davened. And nowadays, if you don't know what to do, you open up a sefer and you look, what should we do? Nobody's davening for inspiration. And if they do, we dismiss them.
Is it that we needed Chachma because we lost Nevuah, or did we need Chachma and...
Neither one. What it is being that you're asking, I'll jump the gun and I'll answer. It's a process. It's not going down a step, it's going up a step. But how's it going up a step? By going down a step. You with me on that?
You read that, sir.
Yeah. The whole purpose of the creation of the world, the whole purpose of the Bria, is to bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Shechina into this world. L'tachtonim. Make me a dira b'tachtonim. Make me a dira b'tachtonim. Lashon of Chazal, right? Make a mishkan. Asuli mishkan. V'shachanti b'seicham. It should be a dira b'tachtonim. That's what a mishkan is. That's what Har Sinai was, bringing it down. How far down? So it can be down enough that Moshe Rabbeinu is a nevuah talking to us from the top of the mountain, or HaKadosh Baruch Hu is talking to us from the top of Har Sinai and saying, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. It can come down the mountain and get into the hands of Moshe Kibel Torah Mishina, Moshe Yeshua. Yeshua is Kenim Lanshik Knesset Hagdolah. Until you get to Shimon HaTzadik, what's happening is there's less and less nevuah and more Chochmas Ha'aretz. The significance of it and the importance of it, like Nekaitza b'yadcha, this was probably one of the most important yisoidus of being Jewish, that the yisoid is that if something is coming from Nevuah, so we're still connected to the sky. If something is coming b'klalei haTorah, al yedei Torah, If some Torah Yordel Arts, if something is coming through the Chachmas HaTorah, so now it's Mamish HaKadosh Baruch Hu permeating the earth. You understand this? Now it's Mamish HaKadosh Baruch Hu permeating the earth. At Kedei Kach, that the Rabbi Yochanan spoke about Reish Lakish, you know about things that we don't even know. You know about knives, and you know about all kinds, because he was like about Shuvah. So you know about things that's even better, like Nachbas, like your Mamish Yorad Biyardona. That was Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish, and in the Yarden. Yarden is Lashon Yorad, Yardona. And that's where the Torah reached even a new level. So the further down the Torah gets, the further away from Nevuah it gets, the higher it is. The further down it goes, the higher it is, because what's happening is we're B'kayim the Ratzon Hashem of bringing the high Torah into a low place. So the more it's going to be permeating the earth, and that's what a Beis HaMikdash is. It's all permeation. That's what Eretz Yisrael is. Everything has to be in Gashmius. It has to be in Gashmius. Olam of Asiyah, because that's so Moshe Rabbeinu started a process of Hoyrin HaTorah Be'olam Habriya through Yitzira into the world of Asiyah. So the more Asiyah, the better. The more Asiyah, the better. So that's why you have a Talmud Bavli. It's probably why, I don't know if you realize how radical what I'm saying is. It's probably why we had to go to Gullus. In other words, from a Hasidic point of view, you have to be Malin and Tzaitzis in the lowest places. It's not good enough. If the Goin says an unbelievable thing. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around it, but I'll say it anyway. That the reason why, we'll speak about it in a minute, but the only reason why there has to be such times of Hester Panim in the history of the Jewish people, Holocausts, pogroms, inquisitions. The reason why there has to be these type of periods, Chorban Beis HaMikdash, where you look around and you see that there's nothing. There's nothing. Where is Hashem? Hashem is mamish hiding. It's too easy to walk outside and say that God is Chas v'Sholom dead. Easy, because it's like the Leis diet. What's going on? So the guy in Mishlei, that the reason for that is because that's taking the Torah even deeper into the place of Asiyah, where there's mamish nothing. And if we can make a tikkun in that place, then we're mamish permeating we're permeating the Shechina of HaKadosh Baruch Hu into even a deeper place, into a place of Ra. Like there, Auschwitz, that's where it has to happen. If somebody would say Shema Yisrael, so what they're doing is they're taking it from the lowest place, Mimabakim Krasicha Hashem.
So anyway, the tsaros that seem to be growing these days is maybe part of that.
Look, you don't have to go to Auschwitz. I'm just saying, even in your own life, like even our own lives, like sometimes you reach a low, and the low is the highest place that you could possibly get, because from an avodas Hashem point, if you're part of the program, and you're part of the process, and you're part of what we're supposed to be doing here in this world, so dafka in the lowest place, in the mimabakim, if one is krasicha Hashem, so dafka from that low place, mimabakim. You look at the whole Sefer Tillim, no? Like the whole Sefer Tillim is all David HaMelech, who reached rock bottom because of his chet of Basheva, because of redifus of his own son and his friends. And, he lower and lower and lower. The easiest place to say, Genuksheit with this religion. David HaMelech was human like the rest of us. He could have said the whole thing is for the birds. But he didn't do that. That's what he says. Kapitel Lamed. He gives us a kapitel Tillim and says, you know what? Right here, I'm going to see Hashem, because this is the tremendous permeation. So it's at a personal level. It's at a national level. It's at a Golus level. It has to be. It has to be. So says the guy. It's like it's good news and it's bad news. But Baruch Hashem, we're pretty much past, I think, God willing, like most of the terrible things. But we came through that, right?
Yosef.
Yosef Haya b'Mitzrayim. Had to be. It has to be. So that's actually the nekuda that I want to speak about, but I'm anxious to read this. Otherwise somebody will turn around and say, like, I thought this was a Nefesh Hachaim shit. As long as there was still nevuah, so it was still somewhat up there. It was the Olam of Asiya, but it was somewhat up there. There was nevuah, there was Yeshayahu, there was Yirmiyahu, there was all the Nevi'im. There was a possibility still of being over on a mitzvah Hashem. There was some kind of a connection to the higher worlds. Kegoy Elio Bahara Karbel v'chayotza. Elio Bahara Karbel. It was what was his chet? What was his chet? Bama. It was Bakar Baba. You weren't allowed. Amnam says Nefesh Hachaim Atzmai, but that itself is warranted in the Torah. Who Atzmai Hasher needs Tavedu b'Torah Moshe a love Tishmod. It says in the Torah you should listen to a navi. Shehu Tzibui v'Azar Lishmael Divrei Navi. Gam Kishi Yisname b'Shmo Yisparach Laver Aleza Mitzvah B'Shat Tzrich Lekach. If he goes within the parameters of halacha, he can tell you a hayrasha. Because why can he tell you this hayrasha? Why can Elio Anavi tell you a hayrasha? It's okay right now, temporarily, to be makriv on a baba because he was a navi. Elio Anavi. Levad be'avodah zarah. Once he tells you avodah zarah, he's out of the picture. That he's the wrong guy. But this you can't do it. You can't learn anything from Eliyahu except for history. Nothing to learn. We can't learn now. Okay, let's build a baba in Tel Aviv. You can't do that. Esther, get that cook right. Esther, Esther, so the Gemara says, was a Neviah. And with all of that, with her being a Neviah, she said, okay, I'm a Navi. So now she said to the Anshe Knesset Hagdol, let's just write in the Megillah, Kisvuni Lidairis. What does it mean, Kisvuni Lidairis? Canonize me. I want to be part of the Tanakh, which she is, part of the Tanakh. What is the significance of being part of the Tanakh or not being part of the Tanakh? Rabbi Yehuda Nasi wasn't part of the Tanakh. So what does it mean to be part of the Tanakh? You're still on the level of Torah Shebiksav. It's a different. So she said, Kizur l'daris cheshivu halay kasavti loch shalishim. Enough happened with you. There, the time of Esther, the Chachamim and the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah, which it wasn't so pashut. They were big. There was a big argument. Right? There was a big machlokes in the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah whether to make this part of the Tanakh or make it not part of the Tanakh, because she was on the cusp of Torah Shabbat Baal Peh to Torah Shabbat. That was the end of it, right after the Beis Rishon. So they had to find a pasuk. Esther bin Torah b'nayin haster aster panay v'yeva. They found something in the Torah. Okay, we can with a shoehorn we can squeeze you in there. But she was like really coming from two worlds, because that was the matzav of the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah at that time. Chelek were Nevi'im and Chelek were Chachamim. It wasn't like the Shivim Zakenim that had all Nevuah. It was that they squeezed her in to the canon. V'chein neiros Chanuka. Same thing is with Chanuka. V'aday shematzu lehem gam kein semech mehamikra. Somebody could have found some kind of a pasuk. I had Medrash Revi'ah Ramban Parshas Ba'aloischa b'shem Rabbeinu Nissim, famous Ba'aloischa Saneiros, talking about the Chashmonaim. See, I want to share with you this thought, that this is like a little bit of a Madna Ha'ora, but in the Al HaNissim that we all said today, it says, B'mei Matisyahu ben Kohen Gadol Chashmonai Vonov Ato Barachmecha Rabim Amatil Meisirasam Ravtos Ribim Damtos Dinam Nekamtos Mikmasam Asar Tigibar Miyat Chaloshim Rabim Miyat Matim Tmei Miyat Torah Rishoi Miyat Tzadik, all the miracles. Zaydim Miyat Ois Kisar Esecha. All the miracles in the Purkan, like means that they were pirated from us the oil of Malchus, all happened on Chanuka. Then what? These were also nisim, al hanisim. They were able to get back into the base of Mikdash, the less of the shemen, hiliku neiros b'chatzos kadshecha. That line is out of place, because everything until this line is a miracle. And therefore what? The Chacham came and made a yontif. Why do I say it's out of place? Because look right across the page. By Purim, talks about also the miracles. On a tree. Okay, it said v'kavu. It should have said it. They established that there should be a Purim. So why does it say by Purim that they established to be a Purim? There's a halach l'maisa, there's a Masechta Megillah. It tells us that they established a Purim based on on what it says there in the Megillah. It says that they were Kreveya. But why isn't that in the Alanissim? But Chanukah it is in the Alanissim. I'll tell you the pshat. The pshat is it's an interesting horror, which I didn't see this far, but it's an interesting horror. And the teretz is because the kavu shmodas yemei Chanukah elu, the Chachamim came along and made a yontif. That's one of the nisim. That means that the Matisyo Banav had the koach to make a yontif. How far did the Shechina permeate into the Aretz, into the Das Adam? Who could make a yontif? Who could make a yontif? So it was ad kedei kach that we were able to kavu shmoidas Chanukah elu l'hoidos l'halel l'shimcha hagadol. L'hoidos means to say al anisim, l'hoidos, l'halel is to say halal. They made a yontif of hoid, a yontif of hoidah.
Eros is not mentioned there.
Eros
is not mentioned.
In liku neiros b'chatzos kadshecha, not the mitzvah of halakas neiros. Okay, but that's part of how you celebrate the holiday.
And when was that? When was Neros?
Shana acher, l'shana acher, says the Gemara. But the following year, kavu. So it took him a year. It means it's a good point. It's not like, whoa, what means Hanukkah? We won the war. It took him a year of deliberation. But this is part of what we're giving Haidah HaKadosh Baruch Hu about. It's an amazing thing that we Hagufa, that we made a yontif begolos.
And that was the struggle between Yevalim and the Jews, because they couldn't understand you could take the physical and turn it into something spiritual.
Yeah, but even before you get to that, in other words, we took the Bechina of Yavan, which was Chachma. This all started when Alexander the Great walked into the base of Mikdash, and we took it, we made a yontif with it.
It's a big Rechim Shiurim. There's not a sefer Makam in
Nothing.
In the Tanakh.
In the Tanakh.
Yet, nonetheless, there's a yontif.
Yeah. So this is the only yontif. By the way, what I'm saying is Kibat before Shegemar Yuma, the Dalet maybe. The Gemara says that Esther, the Lashon of the Gemara, if I recall, Esther Seif Kol Halisim. Ayelas Hashachar. Seif Kol Hanisim. She was the end of all miracles. Right? The Gemara V'Hayika Chanukah. Chanukah is not a miracle. So the Gemara answers, Esther was the end of the Nisim of Torah Shabbat, and Chanukah was the beginning of the Nisim of Torah Shabbat. So before Shegemar, what's the difference in the Bechina of Torah Shabbat and Torah Shabbat? What's the difference? The difference is one is from up coming down, like Moshe Rabbeinu, like Nevuah, and one is from down coming up. We have arrived at the lowest place, and we permeated. Chazer HaMalchus. Everything came from the Oretz.
That's like Purim. You don't have to do a cover. Like in Purim, you don't have to make a.
It's in the Tanakh.
Part of
It's part of the Tanakh. That's a holiday. So I want to, if you
It's interesting. I think I heard the opposite as far as where the koch the chag came. It's an Esirusa de La'ela by Chanuka and Esirusa de Latasa by Purim. So Purim was a tshuva.
What?
By Purim there was a mass tshuva movement in Klal Yisrael. Like they brought it about, whereas by Chanuka there's this Nes Nigla. Do we get the sense that there was a big tshuva movement that we brought about through our tshuva?
I'm not sure, like, it's hard to argue with what you heard, but of course there was a tshuva movement, but that's because there was a nes min Bashamaim b'nister. That was the beginning. That was the end of a particular process, but it was still a nes min Bashamaim. The tshuva might have been Sarus L'Sata, but it was a nes min Bashamaim. You don't find a kviyas. Kviyas means kviyas, like a kviyas muffin. You don't find a kviyas. I'll show you something if you'll permit me. In Daniel, Sefer Daniel, it's a hard Sefer Daniel. He talks about in Parak Yud, he talks about Uviyamim Esrim va'arba l'chodesh rishon v'aniya yisi ayad hanohar hagadol hu chidokel ve'esa einai ve'era, and I picked up my head, my eyes, and I saw v'hinei ish echad lavush badim. This is like a Kabbalistic nevuah, like Echeskel, but let's just get what we can get out of it. V'hinei ish echad lavush badim umasnav chagurim b'chesem upaz ugviyasai. This is describing the body of the I'm imagining it something like some kind of a oversized warrior that Daniel saw, like this kind of a malach. Lavush badim is always a malach. Masnav chagurim b'chesem upaz gviyasai kitarshish ufanav kamari barak. His face was shining. Ve'enav kalapidei eish. His eyes were full of fire. Uzreoisav umargalaisav ke'ein nechoshes kollel. And his arms and his legs were as if they were covered with copper, with nechoshes, as you would imagine an ancient warrior to be. Kol dvarav kol hamoin, and it sounded like he was speaking in many voices. Kol kvutzas hamoin rav shekolam nishma lemeirachik. Every one of these has great significance. Daniel says, "Reisi ani Daniel levadi." Even though I was with people, I'm the only one who saw this. Ani Daniel reisi levadi. Reisi ani Daniel levadi es hamara v'hanashim asher hayu imi loy ro es hamara. They didn't see it. I saw it. They didn't see it. But they did feel it. They didn't see it, but they felt it. All went to hide. It was a powerful experience. I stayed there all by myself. And I watched this Mara that I saw. It zapped my strength. And my hod, nepach alai lemashchis. My hod turned into a mashchis. Lo yatzarti koyach. Eshma is called dvarav, Chashami is called dvarav. As I watched it and as I heard it, ani ayisi nirdam al panai upanai artsa. Ayisi nirdam, I became like he went into like comatose. Al panai upanai artsa, and I laid my face to the ground. The book goes on and on. It's like amazing. Rashi says, Rashi is earlier, and he talks about at the beginning all the different symbolism of what he meant in all of these things that he saw. Antu Malka Melech Malchaya, that's where this mirrors comes from. Antu Melech Malchaya. So Rashi says here that whenever Daniel saw Nechoshes, which he saw on the legs, Kol Melech Malchai Daniel Melech Basar B'Dam. Whenever he saw Nechoshes, Rashi says here in Perek Beis, he's referring to Malchus Yavan, meaning what he saw. What he saw was, he saw different things, but what he saw that Yadav V'Ragleisav K'Nechoshes K'Kollel Nechoshes. So what he was seeing was the challenge of Nechoshes onto the Bnei Yisrael. So far, this is just Tanakh, it came in it was Yavan that he was seeing, the challenge of Yavan. It was huge. Yeah. Yavan was huge. I said on Shabbos today, Greeks are only known for yogurt.
Oh, that's why Avram sent the picture.
What?
That's why Avram sent the picture. Avram never sent a picture of the Greek yogurt.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Glad
He found it on a billboard.
glad somebody was listening. Yeah. But Yavan represented culture, represented architecture and mathematics and civilization as we know it, and forms of government, and military strategy, and everything really that makes the world work.
Rabbi Nechoshes has also similar qualities Rabbi said on Shabbos. Yavan has Yafis, which can go either way. It's used both in Kedusha and also not in Kedusha. So you say
In Mishkan, you mean?
same thing you see in Nechoshes. Right? You have Nechoshes, which is Lashon Nachash, which is you also have Moshe Rabbeinu used it for Refuah.
It's an interesting thing with this Nechoshes thing, like Nachash Nechoshes. Nachash Nechoshes. Nachash, I once mentioned like a Nachash, if you had to have an example of the most flexible of all animals, it's the Nachash. If you had to have an example like a penny, go try to bend a penny, Nechoshes. It's also the most inflexible. But depends how you go. The Nachash Nechoshes was a symbol which was a stira minei ubei, as is Yavan. It's a stira minei ubei. It's a what I said on Shabbos is like if the Yavanim are coming and trying to culturate the world, trying to make the world into a better place to live in, and they're teaching us math, and they're teaching us how to physical fitness, and they're teaching us how to win a war, why not just kill them? What was the big problem? I mean, whose side would we be on? That's so pashut to me that if we would say in the paper that some extremist killed some Greek and another Jew with him because he was trying to bring culture into the country, like we would all have to condemn him and this is not us, they're not all like that, just 2%. They would have to make all kinds of terrors. But you see that. But the point is that Yavan is the Nechoshes. That's all through Daniel. Rashi says all the symbolisms. Yavan was. Now he said Daniel. This is the Arizal says as follows. Just a little bit of Kabbalah we can what we can handle here. We covered Chanuka. The 7 spheres. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus. Another 7 spheres as they are misgal into this world. More on top. The Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, the Arizal says it's so clear that Chesed is Pesach. He brings this already for the sefer Yisirah. Pesach, the Yontiv of Pesach, the Shalosh Regalim, Shavuos, Sukkot is Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes. Netzach, the Hod is Netzach is Purim, and Hod is Chanuka. Kavu Shmoina Simei Chanuka Elu LaHodos. Hod is Chanuka. We still don't know what Hod means, but we just know that Hod is Chanuka. It's interesting. The Arizal goes further. It's not my Torah. The Arizal's Torah. That if the spheres are always put into the if you see anybody who's seen a chart has seen that it's B'koi Masal Adam. Looks like a person. So you always have Netzach and Hoid, in other words, you have Chesed, right, you have Chesed, which is the Kesed, which you have the Keser, and then you have Chesed Gvura Tiferes, Chesed Gvura Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid are the two legs, the Ragloisav, the Raglayim, and Yisoid is what brings into the world, and you get to Malchus. Chanukah is Hoid. Netzach, Hoid. Purim is Netzach. Kisvuni l'dayros, that's what Esther said. Kisvuni l'dayros, I need to be part of Torah Shabbat B'chsav, I need to be Netzach. Hoid is Chanukah. What's Hoid? It's Chanukah. And it's represented by the Raglayim. See, the Raglayim, and this, if you think about it simply, biologically, your hands, you could have Ma'aseh Yadayim, you could do things with your hands, you could build houses, you could make jewelry, you could do all kinds of things with your hands. Very little you could do with your feet unless you live someplace in Bombay or something, you could do something with your toes. But the pashtus is, it's hard to even spread your toes. Toes are not very, very flexible. I don't even know why they're there. You can't do much with your feet, right? What the purpose of your feet is to carry around the rest of you, which is to carry around the rosh and the upper parts of the body. In other words, let me take my feet, move me from here to there. So now I can do something with my hands. Yeah, I mean that's the.
You can't balance yourself without toes.
You can't what?
You can't balance yourself.
No, so that's what's
you
carrying.
Toes, you just have to.
Oh, you're answering why you have toes. You mean?
Yes. You have feet, but you can't if you walk. Or if you get out of balance, it's like your feet that doesn't work as
well. Are you telling me like a scientific yisoid, or do you know that you do?
I heard this once when I stubbed my small toes. So someone told me that that required balance. Yeah,
okay.
The toes are balanced.
But the point is that the purpose of the raglayim is to carry the rest of you. The Rizal makes this point, that it's to be moilech Yisrael yoidim b'makom l'makom. The other purpose of the raglayim is that it permeates the earth. Get straight down to the lowest place, which is good. You're not flying around, we're not levitating, we're not on a magic carpet. We're not flying around. Well, the idea is got our boots on the ground. Got our boots on the ground. We're there. That's as close to Malchus as you can get. So what's intriguing here is. Chanukah is Hoid, and Daniel speaks about the fact that he saw the Ragloisa of Nechoshes, which is Yavan, and he says, Oy vey, Yavan is coming, and it's challenging my Raglayim. What does that mean that it's challenging the Raglayim? It's challenging the Raglayim, meaning it's Yavan is, in simple language, Yavan is challenging the permeation of Shechina into this world. Simple, because once you could explain everything with science, once you could give a natural explanation to everything, that is the challenge of Yavan. The challenge of Alexander the Great going into the base is the challenge of Chachma Keneged Kabbalah from a higher place. We can do with Chachma. Everything that you're trying to explain, Bereishis, Bara, Elokim, Bashamaim, I'll tell you evolution. Okay, we can shparzach, we'll argue evolution, but but the challenge of science was the challenge of Yavan. I say science, it's only part, but I mean science, I mean the whole teva. I'm sure I'm not the only one in this country that finds it interesting that one of the biggest companies in Israel, Hateva, falls on Chanuka. It's bringing the whole country down, Shvita, Hateva, Pella. Okay, so what's the thing here? That Hoid. Let me just tell you one more thing before I tell you what I want to tell you. If you look at the Ramban, Yaakov Avinu had a wrestling match with a Malach, and he was Naga B'Kaf Yerechai, hit him in the leg. And Yaakov Avinu was Tzoleya al Yerechai, and Yaakov Avinu walked away limping. That's that Tolos thing, right? Like he got hit, but it is, let's say it's a sciatica. But the Malach hit him, and he was Tzoleya.
Which leg is it?
Which leg?
Oh, Jordan's.
That's a very important question. But I know one thing that the Ramban says, that this refers to where we find Yaakov Avinu limping. This refers to Klal Yisrael b'shas hashmad. Ramban says, right there in the parsha just saw a few weeks ago, that Yaakov Avinu, this was the fight of history with the Malach. And there's going to be a Eis Shmad. Shmad can mean the Yevanim. That was called the Eis Hashmad, but Shmad keeps going, like Shmad, when Yad Yisrael is al tachtoinav, but Tzoleya al Yerechai, we're limping. What does it mean that we're limping? What does it mean? It means that we're being challenged. Yaakov Avinu, we're limping in the sense that we're being challenged to be able to permeate the Shamayim into the Aretz. That's what it means to limp. The balance, right? Like the Raglayim that we're supposed to be firmly entrenched into the ground has now been challenged. It's like the last challenge. The challenge of Netzach, the challenge of Hoyd. In a way, it's really what you said, that it's really Purim at the beginning, Netzach and Hoyd, but it was Tzoleya al Yerechai, meaning that these two places where we're either on this cusp of Torah Shebiksav, Torah Shebapeh, we're either on that borderline or further into the Bayesheni, the end of the Bayesheni, when we're talking about everything was Chachma, now the Chachma was being challenged. You have Chachma, we have more Chachma. And that was the Tzoleya al Yerechai is talking about. Again, Nachamal, the Raglayim. Hoyd could mean, okay, we know. But Hoyd, I wrote a book, maybe you've seen, on Spheros. So we go through the days of Spheros. So this is the week of Chesed, the week of Gvura, Spheros, Netzach. Came to the week of Hoyd, I was like really stuck because I just didn't know really what did Hoyd mean. I know what Netzach means. I know what Chesed means. I know what Gvura means. I mean, at least I could translate it. But I didn't like Hoyd. You look at some books like Aryeh Kaplan. So he says it means splendor, and other places, splendor, beauty, like Hoyd v'Hadar Levusha. You find this the Kohanim where L'Hoidu L'Sifares, they wear the begadim L'Hoidu L'Sifares. You find different. So we should make Yiddishkeit beautiful. Maybe is that what we're supposed to be doing in the time of Hoyd. So I remember during that particular period of time, I heard a lot of different pshatim, looked at a lot of different svarim, saw a lot of different things, how to translate Hoyd. It wasn't clear to me. And then I went to Rav Scheinberg, Olav Shalom, and they said Hoyd is a Hoyd, Lashon Hoydah. And that's Kollel Hoyd v'Sifaris Levusha. That is beautiful. And he immediately said, "Bring me the Rishlei with the Gra." And I opened the Gra, and the Gra says, "On that pasuk, Hoyd v'Hadar Levusha." He says on that pasuk, he says, "Hoyd is a lashon of Hoydah." Okay. Talmud Chacham. What is Hoydah? You think about Hoydah. Chanuka is lahoidos ulahala. V'kavu shmardas yimei Chanuka elu lahoidos ulahala. Batisyo, there is also before Batisyo Banav were there to take care of Daniel's problem here and be misaked the Mida of Hoyd. That's why there were kavu shmardas yimei Chanuka lahoidos. So this is the Arizal that the Hoyd. Meaning we got to get that foot back into. We got to get a foothold back into the ground. The Shekhinah has to come back into the ground. You with me on this? To get that foot, meaning taking the lowest part of us, and the part that can carry the whole Shekhinah, the whole Keser, everything. It's not going anywhere without the Raglayim. to get it into the ground. That was the tikkun, as the Arizal of Matisyo of Hoida. What was it? That everybody has to be Moida, that Hashem hu ha'alekim. There had to be not just the nisim of the wars. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago on Shabbos that L'hoidoi Sulahallel is the ness of the Shemen was a gilui that everything comes min Hashamayim. So the Matisyahu Banov, the Chashmonayu Banov, what they were able to do was put they were being misaked what the Malach hurt Yaakov. We were Tzolea Yerechai B'shas Hashman B'shas the Yevonim. And this is what Daniel saw, and he said, the Nechoshes, he says, nobody saw, but he says, but look at the pasuk here. Again, Ani nisharti levadi, says Daniel. I was all myself watching this Yavon monster. Ve'erez hamara hagedola hazais, v'loi nishar b'koichi. Ve'hoidi nepach olai lebashchis. My hoid was nepach lebashchis. It was killing us. This was his nevuah. And until he goes further, and he's been avid that there will come a time that we'll be able to fight the Hoid also, and we'll get that Hoid back. The Hoid that Daniel lost, think about what Daniel was. The Hoid that Daniel lost, the time of Bavel, right? It was lost from Bavel all the way through Yavon. It came back, and the Hoidois and Lahalel, Chazal were Masaket. So again, let me just summarize everything I just said, if I can. That the Kavush Shmoidas Yemei Chanuka Elu was part of the Ness. The reason why it's in the Alanissim of Chanukah and it's not in the Alanissim of Purim is because that was a part of what we're celebrating. Not just that they made a holiday out of this, that we can make a holiday. Gewaldig, like we can make a holiday. That is the midah of Raglayim. That is the midah of Hoid. Hoid v'hadar levushas, that we can make a yontiv. It's so permeated the earth that we can use our chokhmah and the same chachma that the Yevonim, everyone says like the Rambam, like how did he base so much of his sefer on Aristotle? It's actually the most beautiful thing in the world, because what he did is he took the chachma of Alexander the Great, which came from Aristotle. He took the chachma and he was mahabach to Torah. It was beautiful. Like the nice thing about being Jewish is that like. This is what we do. We don't create new things. We sanctify that which is there. It's beautiful. It's nice. It's a nice thing.
I think we could suggest from here, so Hod, in order to express Hod, one has Hodaya, you first have to come from a place of being Moideh. And I believe this is why Chazal established that during Hanukkah Dafka we have to read Miketz and Vayigash on this line. Because that's the tikkun
of Hodah.
Of Vidui. The brothers doing vidui, which is being moideh. That's how the entry point out to Hod.
Even Yosef was moda. But the thing is that in Yehuda, Hoida v'loy boish. The parshas are clear, but just to end off, just so we have a clarity of this thing, like what does it mean to be moda? Moda b'chlal depligi, the Gemara says. The Gemara Moda b'chlal depligi. Moda is that, like, when I say Todah Rabbah, being Moda, when I say Moda ani lefonecha, melechai v'kayam, I'm being Moda, there comes a point where I just have to admit, it's a humbling place. It's a humbling place. I have to admit it. Everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I have to admit it. The minute that we have to admit, you have to admit that everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's not coming, we have to admit, because we heard a maskal. You have time, can I tell you one more thing? One more thing, I just want to say this because next week I won't be Chanukah anymore. The Gemara Bava, a famous Gemara, I don't even have to share it with you, you know the Gemara. The Gemara says that there was a Shiloh of Tara and Tuma on the Tanor Shalach Hanoi. And Rabbi Eliezer held one way. And he's Hacharuv Yochiach, Amas Hamayim Yochiach. All kinds of supernatural things were happening. Everything's going to show that I'm right. Amad Yehoshua al Raglov V'Amar Loi Bashamaim he, Ein Mashgichim Bebaskel, we couldn't care less, we're not holding there anymore. Ivan al-Raglov is such an unimportant part of the story. He stood, he sat sitting down, he was laying on the ground, he was taking a bakma. Omad al-Raglov, Rabbi Yeshua turned to everybody and he said, Raglayim, Rabbi Isai, Raglayim, like forget about the Baskel now. Could be he's right, but Loi Bashamayim he, Omad Rabbi Yeshua al-Raglov. It's amazing. And then turned back to the Gemara in Brachas, where the whole big fight came out between Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yeshua. And Rabbi Gamliel was upset. Kriyashma, Rishus Eichayva. What did Rabbi Gamliel say to Rabbi Yeshua? Amoid al raglecha. Amoid al raglecha. You go there, like it was like stand in the corner, you know. Amoid al raglecha until you're moida to me, says the Gemara, that the halacha is kamaisi. Amoid al raglecha. Give up. Okay.
Javan is the darkness.